There we are. Let's just talk finally about the French defense because I remember all of you guys that insulted me. Of course, not absolutely everyone. And everyone mentioned that yes, but Dingliren won with the black pieces with the French defense. So, against Gukash. So basically, the French defense is playable. Let's just keep it clear. If someone plays the theory like the engine until, the very, very, very last moves, let's say until the beginning of the middle game, and then the middle game is played perfectly, then everyone can win against anyone. That is basically the problem and at the same time the reality of chess. It is that if you play perfectly, you can win. For example, if Magnus plays the French defense against me, then definitely he will win. If a grandmaster rated 2650 plays, like 2700 and wins against me, even though I mention and I say that the French defense isn't playable, even if I use my line with the white pieces, if I make a tactical mistake, I lose the game. And it doesn't have anything to do with the opening. And that is pretty straightforward. But my job as a theoretician and the job that I'm making for all my title players, the job that I do for myself, the job that I do for all the guys I'm creating opening repertoires for, they know that. There is the part which is theoretical, which is my part, and there is the practical one, which is actually to play the chess game. Now, what I want to say is that if you play perfectly with the white pieces, even if the engine says equal, at some point you will get very complicated positions which are more likely to be messed up by the player playing the French defense than the player with the white pieces. Of course, again, I don't want to repeat myself too often, but if the player with the white pieces blunders, he loses the game. So let's just start. I actually created a very small, you can see all the games on the left side. I created a ton of I did not create, but I analyzed and put in a lot of nice games in this Liches study, which is of course public. And if you go check out the blog, basically explaining everything, you will have all the games. And the point and the correlation between all the games and basically what I'm talking is that white gets a pretty decent advantage in the beginning, and the stronger engine always won with the white pieces. Now, when I say stronger, I mean that everyone is playing at around 3,550 3,600 elo. So that is more likely to for Stockfish to win the game. Now, let's just put it that way. Here we have some nice games, one with the white pieces, 35-82 against 35-43, and we see that white is always better until there is one tactical mistake in the end, because let's be honest, and this is strange for people that didn't and I also programmed chess engines, so I know what I'm talking about. But the engine is also capable of doing tactical mistakes. Not one move tactics, not even 10 moves tactics, but a tactic which is basically giving a worse strategical position. But let's be honest, in practice, if you get as far as the engine is recommending us to, you play against someone that isn't 3600, you will actually win with the white pieces, and that is the truth. I also put in some nice human games that I played on my own, games that I lost, in Blitz, at the Title Tuesday and things like that. I also put in some very, very, very nice analyses from very old games, and basically players like Motilev who understood how strong this whole position actually is for black. And the point and the thing that I want to show you is that my mythology was basically the Raptor methodology. So Raptor in France is a guy who makes some political content, but he's also making some very nice content, not only about self-improvement but more or less about being healthy. And this guy has a very, very nice approach, and that is just to show you that the argument that everyone is using, especially if the argument isn't fully, let's say, strong enough, it's just not acceptable just because itself the argument is wrong. And the main argument that I got on my first blog was the game Dingri ran against Gukesh. Yeah, Dingri ran won with the black pieces, but it doesn't mean that Ding played better. I don't want to mention the interviews because I have my own opinions on that, and my opinion isn't that relevant. What matters are actually facts. Let's mainly talk about this game. I think it's a deserved win, but it doesn't matter what I think. I think what happened. Anyway, we will get to this critical point. G4, which is the novelty. Of course, it's not a novelty. It wasn't a novelty for myself since I already had this position in my own databases. But basically, the reason why white is slightly better is because white has to play super, super dynamical. And that is not simple for everyone. Here, for example, F5, which was eventually one of the best approaches, is, I don't want to say almost unplayable, but that is not natural. especially for someone who trained and prepared the opening. Why, especially for them? Because they have basically a too much understanding, and this is something that I also heard from Kramnik, from Vladislav Tkachev. At some point, you know the position too well to play it properly. It happens, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was also a matter of experience lacking. But this is another topic. What really matters is that this is not natural, and this is not something. Let's say you see that, you still have to make the right decision. But let's just go back. Bishop g2, a3, b3, cd4, b4. So we basically notice once again that white here, technically according to the engine, is slightly better. But let's just see what he actually missed. So in the game, he played castles, which is not the move which should have been played in the game. Here, the best approach to give black quite a strong fight was actually the move knight b5. And knight b5 seems natural even for players that did not train on this opening. But why did he miss? He actually missed another idea, which was bishop f1 and then queen d2. And basically, you have to wait and play this position very, very statically. You don't have anything concrete for the moment. Black at some point will try to have some d4 breakthroughs, and if you take with the c pawn, you might have some problems on this diagonal, also with the rook on c8, but it did not happen. Bishop d3, this is, for example, a good analysis. And here, the only move already for black, I don't know if you saw the moves on the right, but already the only move for black to actually keep this position equalized is h5. d4 might be already playable, but h5 is slightly better, and we will discuss why. Basically, yeah, exactly. Let's just say d4, just to show you the difference. So basically d4, just to get the d5 square, so it's a clearance sacrifice. Once again, it might be a simple theme, but it's not. And now king f2, because if you just go, I don't know, rook c1, then there is a very nice tactic. I think it does work in that position. I think it has something to do with takes, and bishop b4. I think it's actually this knight, takes and bishop b4, and now there is no rook c3. So king f2 saves the day. But if it's the first time ever you see that position, then of course it's difficult, but it's exactly what I said. If you blunder, and it doesn't matter what you blundered, but if you blunder, you blunder, and that's as simple as that. Let's just go back to the analysis, and basically, Gukesh had to find out this idea. But yeah, this is exactly what we told you, Loris. If this opening is as difficult to play with the white pieces to eventually get something, then this opening isn't destroying the French defense. Yes, but it's actually not the first time ever that this theme occurs in the French defense. Let's just look at a very, very nice game, which is actually, I think, the first one that I put in the database. It's Stockfish against Ethereal, which is basically they have this move in the database. Here, the best theoretical move is knight b4. We also have some games with knight b4. We also have some nice games. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Motilev, but we will come back to this game. Anyway, queen c7, knight d4, and what Stockfish did in the game was actually pretty straightforward. He castled. And notice how the space advantage was actually pretty crushing. All the games are in the database. The database is, you can just open up the database, so you will be able to analyze this game on your own. I just have to find a game where he puts his king on e3. I don't know where it is. It's not this one. Yeah, because I put it quite a lot of lines, even some exchange variations. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. I remember a game from Alpha Zero, but I don't know where is this game. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? No. No. Give me just a second. Yeah, I should have written that down. I don't know what I did. No. But basically, yeah. I showed what I did, what I wanted to show you in a minute. So yeah. So basically, we have some other lines. Some other crushes on d4. Just because we have the control of the d4 square gives us a good dynamics. But okay. I messed up. I prepared for 10 days the analysis, but I'm just too bad to write it down properly, and I just didn't wrote down the names, which is very strange. But it doesn't matter because I will still give away all my sources for all the games and all the other analyses. Where did I put this game? Is it this one? No, it's not this one. Okay, but okay, it doesn't matter actually if I don't find the game immediately. I don't know where I put it, this game. Funny as hell. All right, let's go check this out on your own. It doesn't matter. I don't know if I even put a scheme there. It doesn't matter because this is a theme that we saw in Alpha Zero against Stockfish. But where is Alpha Zero? This is actually very funny. I will have to make a break. Exactly. So hopefully it's recording again. Yes, exactly. So this game will basically be put it, in the description. So you will have some game analysis from AlphaZero's crushing Stockfish. But what matters the most is basically this idea of bringing the king in the middle of the board. And this is something that is already known in the French defense, especially for players who are fighting against and fighting with the French defense. Hopefully you see the screen. Yes, you do. The link will be in the description. It's from Chess Network. AlphaZero teaches Stockfish a lesson in the French defense. All right. Now, of course, the title is also a little bit, as funny as mine, but it doesn't really matter. So you have all your games. Now prove me that I'm wrong. I'm just listening to that. I won't do too many analyses because it's also my job to be a theoretician. So have a nice time analyzing the French defense. Tell me what you think about that. And if you need any more private works on some other openings, let me know in the comment section. By the way, I saw that some players playing the Caro-Kann defended me in the blog, and they wanted to prove me that, okay, I'm playing the Caro-Kann myself, but they wanted to prove me that the Caro-Kann is actually better than the French. And it was pretty upsetting, I can call it like that, telling them that, yeah, actually the Caro-Kann is as bad as the French because it's allowing e5 on the third move. Then again, players playing the Caro-Kann tried to crash, to fight against me. Now, to be honest, Cheparinov did a very, very good game showing how how can I word that right now, that the modern way of playing the Caro-Kann is actually pretty decent. Also, some new games from Abdusatorov against the French defense were pretty convincing on how unplayable this opening actually is. He played this game in the Tata Steel. Yeah, actually, I won't talk too much. Let me just show you everything. All right, Abdusatorov is there. So it's a game that he won with the white pieces against Mendoka Leon Luke. All right, hopefully you can see the board. Yes, exactly. So it's not quite the same idea. I mean, not quite the same move order, but it's the same idea. Basically, anything that takes space advantages on the queen side are crushing. So yeah, we have a4. We have some. Black already made a mistake with knight h6, but this is a natural move, which is just wrong in that position, and it proves some tough work basically from the engine. Bishop e7 first, but okay, let's not mention that. Okay, bishop b5, knight f5, knight c3, and again, sacrificing the pawn, taking the pawn. We don't really care about that since we will get the control of the d4 square, and thanks to the pawn on e5, black actually can't really do anything about it, and the queen is just slightly too misplaced. For example, there are some examples where you play king f1, so that knight f3 is in a check. But okay, let's just go back. Yeah, basically we got a pretty convincing game where once again moving on the queen side is the main and the strongest idea, and castling on the king side is never, I mean, it can be a good idea, but now in this case, you will have to go knight h4, the MVL knight, and here, if I remember my analysis correctly, I wouldn't even be surprised if I can just take and go bishop e3 followed by f4. Let's just see what the engine says. The engine says even better. Yeah, I remember. Takes bishop a3, and once again, the engine doesn't really care about anything because we're just completely dominating on the queen side. And this is basically the idea. And basically, I don't know, for players who want to just play the French defense, this is something you have to analyze. This is something you have to go for. For players who do not play the French defense, it's not simple for them to understand what I'm talking about. But for those of you who are playing this opening, this is something you should definitely analyze. All right. Anyway, all the games are on, in the study. Just go check this out. If you have any more questions, just let me know in the comment section. This is the end for me about this topic. I didn't want also to talk like for 50 minutes. I will still do 15 minutes, which is not that bad, because let's just be honest, it's my job to create theoretical novelties. So, this is just a pretty nice start, I want to say, on why the French defense isn't playable. Of course, if you tell me that the title is too strong, shouldn't be playable, let me just show you eventually a new way of playing the French defense with the black pieces, and that is actually to play, okay, wait, e5, c5, c3, knight c6, knight f3. Here the best new approach should be c takes d4, with the idea that if pawn takes, then knight g e7 first, and we actually don't really need the queen on b6 anymore. This is once again, it was analyzed by Etienne Bacro. It's all right. I just remember analysis that he made on the Blitzstream channel, but even there, I wouldn't be surprised if taking wasn't actually the right thing. I know there is a gambit which goes bishop d3, but here black should actually be a little bit careful. And here I'm a little bit lacking in the analysis, but it feels like it should be more or less all right. Queen b6 is almost never the good option, a good option because it always transposes into this main line, which is pretty unnatural. And now we basically wasted a move with knight g7. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. If you still have any questions, just let me know in the comment section. See you in the future. Now we will talk again about very, very interesting topics, how to get titles, how to improve your practical play to actually be a tournament beast. Hopefully see you in the future. Take care.